I have this image of how the world works, and that is that the air around us is chock full of little, tiny, invisible inspiration fairies. And sometimes we think that we need to do something to call in inspiration. We need to make it happen ourselves, and we get frustrated when we can't. But what I believe is really happening is these little inspiration fairies are flitting around out there, and they are so eager. They have so much inspiration. They're so eager to come into the world, and yet they can't. By themselves, they're just out there in the air. They don't have the ability to do the things, to do the dancing, to do the speaking, to do the painting. They can't do it by themselves. Every single one of those pieces of inspiration has to come through a human body. And so they're out there, and they are so ready. And we, in our human bodies, for a variety of reasons, are resisting them. We're not open to letting them come in. We get scared. We doubt ourselves. We wonder about what other people are thinking. All that stuff. And so here's what really happens, is that the minute one of us begins to open up and relax and not worry so much about what somebody else is thinking, just get excited enough that we go and do it anyway, those little inspiration fairies are out there. They're like elbowing each other. I think that we must almost change color when we begin to open up to inspiration, and they can see it, and they're up there going, ah, I bet that one's mine, that one's mine, I'm going in, I'm going in. And so when we open up, those fairies are coming through. It's the most amazing thing. We don't have to push the river. We don't have to create the inspiration. All we have to do is to become an open channel for it to come through. So that's in two directions, really, because that's in the direction of receiving the inspiration. And it's also, we have to let it flow out. We have to do our work in the world. We have to create the painting or say what we're here to say. And that's our part, is to open up both ends. We have to open up our receiving and open up our gifting it out into the world. As it passes through us, we put our own stamp on it. It is the inspiration of the world. It's life impulse working through us. And it becomes a part of us, which is part of why we are scared of doing it. You know, again, worrying about what other people think. That's all just that human stuff. And here's the piece that I really want to make clear, is that when I talk about this inspiration fairy, it's easy to think of, well, that's for artists, that's for writers, that's for dancers. But this is for everybody that wants to be part of the creative solutions. We live in a time on this planet when it's a dicey, very dicey situation. A lot of people are getting pretty darn hopeless. There are a lot of people just plain hopeless. So people ask me, how do you keep to your optimism? This is how. This is how. I know these inspiration fairies. And I know my dance with them, and I watch other people's dance with them. And I know the number of people in the world that are doing the work to open themselves, to help others to open, to help others feel safe enough to open. As far as I'm concerned, that is our work in the world right now, is to help each other feel safe enough to open up so that our inspiration fairies can come through. And the creativity, the creative solutions we need to carry our world into an amazing new place, that's going to come through each of us opening up. And the thing is, it feels so good. It feels so good. It's scary. We have all this shame keeping us from doing it. Obviously, there's a lot to it. It's not something you just make a conscious decision and all of a sudden you're open. Obviously. And the act of doing it is following your joy. It is choosing to do what is the most exciting thing to you, trusting that you don't have to go out and struggle and suffer to change the world to do a should. Your best piece is to let the energy flow, to help the movement of the energy in the world so that it all flows better. So you're more open, other people see you being open, they open up, we help each other. This, to me, this is what it's all about. And holding this image of these inspiration fairies is so helpful because they're here to help us. They're not judging us. They don't need us to be perfect. They just need us to be open.